I started working when I was just 15 years old. Not because I wanted extra spending money like most teenagers, but because I had to. My parents made it clear that my future was my own responsibility, while they poured everything into my younger brother, Aaron. When I bought my first house at 25, completely on my own without a penny from anyone else, I felt proud of how far I had come despite everything. I never imagined that this achievement would lead to my own parents suing me for supposedly ruining my brother's chances in life. If you have ever had to fight for everything you have, drop where you are watching from in the comments and hit subscribe to join me as I share how my own parents tried to take away everything I worked for. Growing up in Auburn Hills, Michigan, I learned early on that my place in the family was different from my brother's. My father, Thomas, worked as an accountant at a local firm, and my mother, Judith, taught part-time at the elementary school. We lived in a modest two-story house in a middle-class neighborhood, nothing fancy but comfortable enough. Well, comfortable for everyone except me. My bedroom was in the smallest corner of the house with a simple twin bed, a wobbly desk I found at a garage sale, and a dresser with missing handles. Down the hall, Aaron's room was twice the size, with a queen bed gaming console, computer, and custom shelving for his sports trophies. The contrast was impossible to ignore, especially for a kid trying to understand why his parents treated him differently. Clinton stopped complaining. "You should be grateful you have a roof over your head," my father would say whenever I asked why Aaron got new things while I made do with hand-me-downs or items I purchased myself from doing yard work for neighbors. By the time I turned 12, the favoritism had become impossible to ignore. My birthdays passed with minimal acknowledgement, usually just a store-bought cake and maybe a card if they remembered. Meanwhile, Aaron's birthdays were major productions with bouncy houses, catered food, and dozens of guests. "We cannot afford to do big parties for both of you," my mother explained once when I asked why my 13th birthday had been forgotten entirely, while Aaron's 11th the month before had featured a professional magician and custom decorations. School events followed the same pattern. I stopped even telling my parents about band concerts or academic competitions because they never showed up. Yet they rearranged entire work schedules to attend every one of Aaron's soccer games or science fairs. "Your brother needs more support. He is not naturally gifted like you," my father explained after missing my National Honor Society induction. That same week, they took off work early 3 days in a row to watch Aaron's recreational league basketball games. Christmas mornings burned the lesson deeper into my heart. I would unwrap practical items, usually things I needed anyway, like socks or school supplies. Aaron would tear through mountains of gifts, the latest video games, expensive clothes, and whatever else he had asked for. By 14, I had stopped expecting anything from my parents. I learned to congratulate myself on my own achievements and to find pride in my independence. I became the kid who never asked for money for field trips or extracurriculars. I figured it out myself, or went without. The true turning point came when I was 15. Our family sat down for one of our rare family meetings, which usually meant discussing something related to Aaron. This time, it was about college planning. "We have been saving for Aaron's education since he was born," my mother announced proudly. "The account already has $32,000, and we will keep adding more." I nodded, waiting for them to mention my college fund. The silence stretched uncomfortably until I finally asked, "What about my college fund?" My parents exchanged that look I had grown to recognize the one that said they had forgotten to consider me again. "Clinton, we always assumed you would get scholarships," my father said. "You are smart enough. Besides, you seem so independent already." That night I lay awake realizing no one would secure my future but me. The next day I walked into every business within biking distance of our house asking for job applications. Frank Williams, the owner of Williams Hardware, took a chance on me despite my age. "I can only give you weekend shifts and some evenings," Frank said. School comes first, understood. Frank became more than a boss. He became the mentor I desperately needed. He taught me how to interact with customers, manage inventory, and handle money responsibly. Most importantly, he showed me what it looked like when an adult believed in my potential. "You have got a good head on your shoulders," Clinton Frank would say. "Keep saving, keep learning. You will go places." Throughout high school, I balanced academics with increasing work hours. I opened my first bank account at 16, carefully tracking every dollar I earned. While my parents bought Aaron a used BMW for his 16th birthday, I saved for community college tuition. I maintained a 4 gigapascals joined clubs that required no fees and worked 30 hours a week my senior year. Frank gave me more responsibility at the store, including opening and closing shifts on weekends, which came with a small raise. My graduation day should have been triumphant. I was valedictorian, had earned a partial scholarship to Michigan State, and had saved nearly $15,000 toward my education. My parents attended the ceremony but left immediately after to prepare for Aaron's middle school graduation party that weekend. They had rented a tent, hired caterers, and invited extended family, none of whom had been informed about my high school graduation. "Your brother is really struggling with the transition to high school," my mother explained when I asked why my milestone warranted no celebration. "We need to make sure he feels supported." College marked my complete break from financial dependence on my family. My scholarship covered about 60% of my tuition at Michigan State, and I covered the rest through a combination of student loans and working nearly full-time. I found a job at a campus bookstore that allowed me to coordinate my work schedule with classes. During summers and breaks, I returned to Williams Hardware, where Frank always kept a position open for me. "Most kids your age are blowing money on parties and spring break trips," Frank commented during my sophomore year. "Not you. You have got your eyes on something bigger." He was right. Every dollar I saved represented freedom and security, things I had never felt growing up. While I worked and studied, I watched social media updates of Aaron partying at the private university my parents paid for entirely. He changed majors 3 times in his first 2 years, dropped classes when they got difficult, and seemed to spend more time at fraternity events than studying. College was where I found my first real sense of family. My roommate Jackson and I bonded over our shared work ethic, both of us putting ourselves through school. Then I met Maria in my business ethics class, and the three of us formed an inseparable trio. They invited me home for holidays, introduced me to their families, and showed me what genuine support felt like. "You are more than welcome to join us for Thanksgiving," Jackson's mom insisted during my junior year. "We would love to have you." That was the first holiday I truly enjoyed. No walking on eggshells, no feeling like an afterthought. Just warmth, inclusion, and genuine interest in my life. I majored in business with a focus on real estate development, fascinated by the potential to build something lasting. My professors noted my dedication, and one connected me with an internship at Horizon Development Group during my senior year. Meanwhile, updates from home were predictably focused on Aaron. He had failed out of his first university, but my parents had paid for him to transfer to another school closer to home. "He just needs more support," they said, never acknowledging that he had squandered the opportunities they had given him. I graduated with honors and converted my internship into a full-time position at Horizon. The starting salary was modest, but the potential for growth was significant. I rented a small studio apartment near the office, furnished it minimally, and continued my habit of careful saving. My mentor at Horizon, Samantha Hughes, took me under her wing and taught me the nuances of the industry. "Real estate is about seeing potential where others do not," she advised. "The same applies to people. I see potential in you that you might not even recognize yet." Under her guidance, I worked on increasingly important projects. 6 months into the job, a key client was threatening to pull out of a development due to miscommunications and delays. While senior team members argued about who was at fault, I quietly compiled a comprehensive plan to address the client's concerns and get the project back on track. "I have got a solution," I said during an emergency meeting. "It will require adjusting our timeline, but we can make it work without additional costs." My plan worked. The client stayed, the project succeeded, and I received my first major promotion along with a substantial raise. I continued living frugally, investing a percentage of each paycheck and building my knowledge of the local real estate market. By 24, I had a healthy savings account, an excellent credit score, and a clear plan. I began seriously house hunting, focusing on properties with potential that other buyers might overlook. I spent weekends visiting open houses and evenings researching neighborhoods and property values. After 3 months of searching, I found a 3-bedroom ranch-style house in a developing area. The previous owners had failed to maintain it properly, so the price was well below market value. Most buyers were put off by the dated kitchen, worn carpeting, and overgrown yard. This place needs at least 50,000 in renovations, one couple commented as they quickly walked through and left. I saw something different. The foundation was solid, the roof was only 5 years old, and the floor plan was open and functional. Most importantly, I could afford it and had the skills to improve it over time. Securing financing was surprisingly straightforward thanks to my credit history and the sizable down payment I had saved. At the closing, the real estate agent remarked, "Not many 25-year-olds buy their first home with this much preparation. You should be proud." I spent the next 3 months renovating using skills I had learned from Frank years earlier and calling in help from Jackson and Maria on weekends. We ripped out carpets to reveal hardwood floors underneath, updated the kitchen with affordable but attractive finishes, and transformed the backyard into a welcoming space. The day I officially moved in remains one of the proudest of my life. I hosted a small housewarming with the friends who had become my chosen family, including Frank, who brought a toolbox as a gift. "This is just the beginning for you," Frank said, looking around the home I had created. "You built this life brick by brick, and nobody can take that away from you." I had no idea how prophetic his words would be, or how soon they would be tested. While I was building my career and home, Aaron's life took a different direction. After bouncing between 3 different colleges over 6 years, he finally dropped out completely. My parents continued supporting him financially, allowing him to live at home rent-free while he figured things out. Through occasional texts from my mother, I learned that Aaron had cycled through several entry-level jobs, never lasting more than a few months at each. "He just has not found his passion yet," she explained, though he was now 23. I maintained minimal contact with my family, usually just a card at Christmas and brief phone calls on major holidays. I had long since accepted our relationship for what it was and focused my energy on my career and friendships instead. Then came the text from Aaron. That surprised me. "Congrats on the house, bro. Saw Mom looking at the pics on your social media. Pretty impressive." It was the first genuine acknowledgement from any family member about my accomplishments. I responded with a simple thank you, not wanting to read too much into the unexpected outreach. A week later came another message, parents writing me hard about why I cannot get my life together like you. Not cool. The accusatory tone made me pause. I had never sought comparisons between us, had never mentioned my achievements to them to make Aaron look bad. "I have not spoken to them in months," I replied truthfully. "Whatever they are saying is not coming from me." His response was immediate. "You do not have to say anything. Your whole life makes me look like a failure." I chose not to engage further, recognizing the familiar pattern of being blamed for situations I had not created. 3 days later, my doorbell rang on a Sunday afternoon. When I opened it, I found my parents and Aaron standing on my porch, an awkward family reunion I had never requested. "Clinton, what a lovely home," my mother said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "You have done well for yourself." My father nodded, looking around with appraising eyes. "Good investment. Property values in this area are increasing rapidly." Aaron shuffled in last hands in his pockets, barely making eye contact. The initial conversation was strained, full of surface-level pleasantries and careful avoidance of the years of distance between us. I gave them a brief tour, increasingly uncomfortable with their presence in the space I had created as my sanctuary. We settled in the living room where my mother finally revealed the purpose of their visit. "Aaron has been going through a rough patch," she began. "We thought perhaps a change of scenery might help him get back on his feet." I waited already, sensing where this was heading. "We were thinking he could stay with you for a while," my father continued. "Just until he finds a job in this area and can afford his own place." Before I could respond, Aaron jumped in. "This house is too big for just you anyway. You have got 2 empty bedrooms just sitting here." I took a deep breath. "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I am not in a position to have a roommate right now. My work hours are irregular, and I value my privacy." My mother's pleasant expression hardened. "Family helps family, Clinton. After everything we have done for you." The absurdity of her statement left me momentarily speechless. "What exactly have you done for me?" I finally asked. "I have supported myself since I was 15. I paid for my education, my car, this house, everything I own. We raised you," my father said indignantly. "We put a roof over your head." "The bare minimum required by law," I replied, keeping my voice level. Meanwhile, you are still supporting Aaron completely at 23, just like you always have. Aaron stood up, face flushed. See, this is exactly what I mean. You think you are better than me just because you have this house and your fancy job. I never said that, I responded. But I am not responsible for the choices either of you have made. My mother's next words blindsided me completely. Aaron should have this house, she declared. You could easily buy another one with your salary. Your brother needs this more than you do. I stared at her, certain I had misheard. This is my home. I bought it. I renovated it. I paid for it. You owe this to your brother, after making him look bad all these years, my father added. You have always shown off, always tried to outshine him. By what? Working hard, supporting myself, because you refused to. I felt years of repressed anger rising to the surface. I never asked to be compared to Aaron. That was your choice. The argument escalated quickly. Years of unspoken resentments poured out as my parents accused me of being selfish, of not understanding family obligations. Aaron alternated between sullen silence and bursts of entitlement, at one point saying, "You would not even have been able to buy this place if Mom and Dad had treated us equally growing up." The irony of his statement was not lost on me. "You need to leave," I finally said, standing up. "All of you. Now. You will regret this," my father warned, as I ushered them toward the door. "Family is forever, Clinton." "No," I replied. "Family is supposed to support each other, not tear each other down. You have never been that kind of family to me." 2 weeks later, I received an envelope from a local law firm. Inside was a lawsuit filing from my parents claiming I had psychologically damaged Aaron by flaunting success and financial stability. They were demanding compensation for Aaron's therapy costs and emotional damages, with additional claims that I owed them money for basic support during my childhood. Most shocking of all, they specifically named my house as part of the desired compensation, arguing that Aaron's diminished earning potential resulting from the psychological damage I had caused him entitled him to assets of equal value to what I had acquired. I sat on my living room floor, legal papers scattered around me, feeling as though the room was spinning. The lawsuit was absurd, without legal merit, but the betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. That my own parents would try to legally steal my home, the physical manifestation of years of hard work and sacrifice, was beyond comprehension. For the first time since I was a teenager, I broke down completely. Jackson found me there hours later, having let himself in with the spare key after I failed to answer multiple calls. "They hate me," I told him through tears. "They have always hated me, and now they want to take away everything I have built." Jackson read through the lawsuit, his expression darkening. "This is not hate, Clinton. This is greed and entitlement. And it is not going to work." He called Maria, who came immediately. My chosen family surrounded me that night, reminding me that I was not alone, that what my biological family was doing was not normal or acceptable. "Do they have any legal ground to stand on?" Maria asked pragmatically. "I do not think so," I replied, my mind clearing somewhat. "But they are forcing me to defend myself to prove that I do not owe them anything." In the days that followed, I vacillated between crushing doubt and righteous anger. Had I somehow harmed my brother by succeeding where he had failed? Did I owe my parents something for the years I lived under their roof, even if they had provided only the basics while lavishing Aaron with extras? Then one morning I woke up with perfect clarity. This lawsuit was simply the ultimate form of their toxic behavior, an extension of the favoritism and emotional manipulation that had defined my childhood. They had always taken from me to give to Aaron. This was just the most blatant attempt yet. I would not let them win. Not this time. I found attorney Lisa Rodriguez through a colleague at work who had used her services in a family dispute. Her specialty was family law with experience in frivolous lawsuits, and she did not hide her incredulity when I explained my situation. "Let me get this straight," she said, reviewing the filing. "Your parents, who by your account provided minimal support during your childhood while favoring your brother, are now suing you because your success makes your brother feel bad." "That is the essence of it," I confirmed. Lisa shook her head. "This case should be dismissed quickly, but we need to prepare thoroughly. Gather every piece of documentation you can find that shows your self-sufficiency from age 15 onward." The next weeks were consumed with building my defense. I contacted former employers for records of my work history, starting with Frank, who was outraged on my behalf. I retrieved bank statements showing my systematic saving and financial independence. I collected college financial records demonstrating how I had paid my own way. We should also get statements from people who can speak to your work ethic and independence, Lisa suggested. Frank wrote a powerful letter detailing my years working at the hardware store. Former professors described my dedication to education despite working full-time. Jackson and Maria provided statements about my character and self-reliance. The emotional toll was immense. Each night after gathering documentation, I would find myself reliving painful memories I had long suppressed. The birthday parties I was not worth celebrating. The school events my parents never attended. The constant message that I was not as important as my brother. Through discovery, we learned something surprising. My parents were deeply in debt. Years of supporting Aaron, paying for failed college attempts and covering his expenses, had drained their savings and maxed out their credit cards. They had recently taken out a second mortgage on their house. This explains a lot, Lisa said. They are not just acting out of favoritism anymore. They are desperate. They see your house as a financial solution to problems they created. The first court hearing arrived with stomach-churning speed. Walking into the courtroom and seeing my parents and Aaron sitting with their attorney made everything surreally real. My mother avoided eye contact. My father stared stonily ahead. Aaron looked uncomfortable, fidgeting in his suit that still had the price tag partially visible on one sleeve. Their attorney presented their case, first spinning a narrative about family obligations and psychological harm that sounded ridiculous, even as he spoke it with conviction. He claimed I had deliberately succeeded to make Aaron feel inadequate and that my parents deserved compensation for the continuing emotional care they provided to Aaron as a result. When Lisa rose to speak, her calm professionalism contrasted sharply with the emotional arguments from the other side. Your Honor, this case represents an unprecedented attempt by parents to penalize their child for becoming independent and successful, she began. The plaintiff's claims are not only without legal merit, they contradict fundamental principles of personal responsibility. She methodically presented the documentation of my financial independence since age 15, my work history, my academic achievements, and testimony from those who had witnessed my journey. If anything, she concluded, Mr. Clinton deserves recognition for overcoming the lack of support from his parents, not punishment for his success. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes and an even sharper mind, asked pointed questions of both attorneys, seeming particularly troubled by my parents' claims of being owed for basic childhood support. Are you suggesting that children owe their parents financial compensation for raising them? She asked my parents' attorney. Because that would create a concerning precedent. As the hearing continued, I noticed Aaron becoming increasingly agitated. During a brief recess, I saw him arguing with my parents in the hallway, their voices hushed but their body language tense. When court resumed, the unexpected happened. Aaron asked to address the court. Your Honor, I need to say something, he said, standing without waiting for permission. This lawsuit was not my idea. I did not want to do this. My parents looked horrified as Aaron continued. My parents told me I had to support this or they would stop helping me financially. They said Clinton owed us because he made me look bad by comparison. But the truth is, I was jealous of him. He worked for everything while I had everything handed to me, and I still failed. The courtroom fell silent as Aaron turned toward me. I am sorry, Clinton. You do not deserve this. The judge's ruling came swiftly after Aaron's confession. She not only dismissed the case entirely, but also ordered my parents to pay my legal fees, citing the frivolous nature of the lawsuit and the apparent coercion of Aaron to support false claims. Family relationships are not within this court's jurisdiction, she stated, but property rights are. Mr. Clinton owns his home legally and exclusively, and the plaintiffs have presented no legitimate claim to it whatsoever. My parents left the courtroom without looking at either of their sons, faces rigid with humiliation. Aaron lingered behind, approaching me hesitantly as I gathered my papers. I meant what I said, he told me. I have been blaming you for years when I should have been looking at myself. And at them. They set us up to be against each other from the beginning, I replied. It was never fair to either of us. Can we talk sometime? He asked. Not now, but maybe when things settle down. I nodded cautiously. I cannot promise anything, but I am willing to listen. The weeks following the court victory were a strange mixture of relief, vindication, and grief. I had won, but at the cost of any possibility of reconciliation with my parents. Though given their actions, perhaps that was for the best. I maintained firm boundaries, blocking my parents' numbers after they sent several angry texts blaming me for turning Aaron against them. As for Aaron, we met for coffee a month after the court case. He had moved out of our parents' house, found a job at an auto parts store, and was taking night classes at community college. I am starting at the beginning, he said. Where you started at 15. I am 10 years behind, but better late than never. I did not offer financial help knowing it would undermine the independence he needed to develop. But I did offer something else. If you want advice or just someone to talk to who understands what it is like to build from scratch, I am here. The journey from that 15-year-old boy who realized he was on his own to the homeowner who successfully defended his achievements taught me more than I ever expected to learn. I discovered that self-reliance is not just about financial independence, but about defining your own worth when others fail to see it. I found peace in proving not that I was better than my brother, but that I was worthy of the success I had achieved. I created security for myself that no one could take away, and built a chosen family of friends who celebrated, rather than resented my accomplishments. Today, I mentor young people from difficult family situations, helping them navigate the path to independence. I share with them what Frank shared with me, belief in their potential when their families fail to provide it. Have you ever had to defend something you worked hard for from people who should have supported you instead? Share your story in the comments below. Sometimes the family we build is more important than the one we are born into. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you will not miss my next video. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember, your success is never something you need to apologize for. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.